Your kindness might be the very reason they never change. Let that sink in. Every time you rush in to save them, you may be undoing the work God is trying to do in their life. Let's be clear before anyone gets offended. We're talking about the unwilling, not the wounded, not the sick, not the trapped, not those in real crisis. We're talking about capable adults who refuse responsibility and call it hard times. Here's the truth most Christians avoid. Grace is not the absence of consequences. When you keep rescuing someone, you aren't being loving. You're stepping into a role that was never yours. You're playing God. Here are 5 types of people the Bible warns you not to keep enabling, and why walking away may be the most loving thing you ever do. Number 1. Most people think they're being the hands and feet of Jesus by cleaning up someone else's mess. But in reality, they're interfering with God's discipline. Proverbs 19:19 says, "A hot-tempered person must pay the penalty. If you rescue them, you'll only have to do it again." That verse isn't cruel, it's diagnostic. You know the cycle. Your phone buzzes at 2 a.m., another emergency that was completely avoidable. You drain your savings to cover their rent again, while they show up next week with a new designer jacket. You spend your weekends fixing problems they created while they sleep in. You think you're shielding them from the storm, but you might be building a roof over a house God is trying to shake. When you absorb the consequences, they never feel the weight required to repent. Galatians 6:7 is blunt. A man reaps what he sows. If you keep intercepting the harvest, don't be surprised when nothing changes. I care about you too much to keep funding this cycle. I'll help you plan, but I won't pay for the consequences anymore. Grace does not cancel responsibility. Number 2, giving money to someone who can work but won't is not generosity. It's sabotage. 2 Thessalonians 3:10 says, "The one who is unwilling to work shall not eat." Hunger is not always an enemy. Sometimes it's a teacher. This person is always about to start something, always scrolling, always broke, always asking for seed money. You're working 2 jobs to fund their 0-job lifestyle. You feel guilty for having more, so you hand it over. But in doing that, you steal something from them. The dignity of labor. Jesus fed the hungry who came seeking him. He never turned himself into a vending machine for people avoiding responsibility. Proverbs 16:26 says, "The appetite of laborers works for them. Their hunger drives them on." If you keep firing the teacher, don't blame the student for never learning. I won't give money, but I'll help you find work. If they're capable, your money isn't mercy, it's permission. Number 3. Not everyone deserves your advice. Proverbs 9:8 says, "Do not rebuke mockers, or they will hate you. Rebuke the wise, and they will love you." Some people don't want truth, they want an audience. You write long, careful messages trying to help, and they respond with sarcasm or a mocking emoji. You stay up late worried about their soul, and they use your concern as material for their next joke. You think you're being patient. You're volunteering as a punching bag. Jesus warned us not to throw pearls to people who will trample them and then turn to attack us. Matthew 7:6 isn't about insults, it's about stewardship. I can see you're not ready for a serious conversation. I'm going to step back. Silence is sometimes the most loving rebuke. Number 4. If someone constantly whispers about others to you, they're rehearsing what they'll say about you later. Proverbs 20:19 says, "A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much." Listening to gossip isn't neutral. It's participation. You think you're being a good listener. You're becoming a landfill for their bitterness. You think shared secrets build trust. They actually build paranoia. Proverbs 16:28 says, Gossip separates close friends. Your kindness is giving oxygen to a fire that burns relationships to the ground. I don't feel comfortable talking about them when they're not here. What you tolerate, you train. Number 5. Constantly validating a complainer isn't empathy, it's collaboration. Philippians 2:14 says, "Do everything without grumbling or arguing." Complaining isn't just annoying, it's rebellion dressed up as vulnerability. You spend an hour on the phone listening to how unfair their life is, and you hang up emotionally drained. You think you're bearing their burden. You're carrying their garbage. Numbers 11:1 says, "When the people complained, the Lord's anger was kindled." God opposes that mindset. Why are you funding it with your attention? Let's talk about what God has done, or let's talk another time. Empathy without direction breeds entitlement. Setting boundaries isn't optional if you want to obey God. You cannot keep sacrificing your peace to fund someone else's rebellion and still call it Christian love. Love doesn't remove consequences. Love restores responsibility. Jesus said, "Let your yes be yes, and your no, no." Here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, no bailouts, only coaching. No rescuing, only truth. Say no without explaining yourself. Let God do the work you were never meant to do. Which of these 5 hit you the hardest? Share this with someone who's exhausted, because they don't realize that no is a holy word. And if you're ready to learn how to rest without losing your fire for God, that's what the next video is about. May God strengthen your heart as you choose His wisdom over human approval.